If you're like me and you don't like resolutions, don't we all know by now they just set us up to fail? But you do like to be intentional about creating the life you want, you love goals, and you're all about personal growth, you are going to love today's episode. So welcome to another episode of Living a Nutritious Life. I'm your host, Keri Glassman, and today we're diving deep into the world of personal growth with the master of mindset herself, my friend, Jennifer Grace. And it's New Year's week. Who better to chat with than Jennifer? Jennifer Grace is an acclaimed mindset coach, Hay House author, a sought-after keynote speaker, and corporate trainer. Her goal-oriented mindfulness approach has empowered leaders at top companies, including Facebook, Turner, and Prada. Jennifer's acclaimed 2019 TEDx talk, Why Mindfulness Should Be as Important as Math in Our School Systems, could not agree more, stems from her passion for youth education. Check out the show notes for Jen's full bio and more. In today's episode, Jennifer explains the power of having a word for the year to help us steer decisions towards peace, not chaos. Jennifer and I talk about our own words for the year too. You'll also learn how the simple act of reflection and how making a joy list is key versus resolutions in leading to personal transformation. So let's do this. Get ready to set your intentions and create space for joy in 2024. And don't forget, if you love today's podcast, please rate, review, and share. Hello, my beautiful friend, Jennifer Grace. I am so excited to be here with you. Happy, healthy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm so excited to be here with you. This is the best way to kick off the new year.
The best way, really. Is there any better way to start the new year than with the one and only Jennifer Grace? I don't think so, because as you know, I just did a little intro about you, but for anybody that missed the intro or wants to hear more, Jennifer Grace is really the master, I would say, of mindset and vision and just positive vibes and all good energy. Whenever I am in your orbit, I always just feel better. You just have that ability to make people feel not only happy and positive, but really feel positive and happy about possibilities, about opportunities, about what their life could be. And it's really a gift that you have, that you're able to do that, I think, in such a short period of time with someone, but with so many different people. So I'm so excited to share that with people today.
Great.
Especially to kick off the new year. Can you share just a little bit in your own words, like your background, how you got into this incredible work that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. It's been January 2024. I started in January 2008.
Wow.
Am I on my 16th year? That's
pretty
cool.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it really started the year before. I was just, exiting my marriage, my work as a filmmaker, and wanting something different, wanting something more. And I actually just took a course called the Clarity Catalyst as a student, and it set me off on this course of discovering coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you could get paid to do what I've done my entire life, just be a cheerleader and to motivate and inspire others. Like, I know so many coaches that we work with, like they all say the same thing. I've been doing this my whole life. Now I get to get paid for it.
I tell my students that too. I say, when people say, well, I don't have any nutrition or wellness background, can I become a nutrition and wellness coach? And I say, but you've probably been coaching. And then they'll say something like, you've been educating and you've been coaching. You're a parent. You've been coaching. You just don't even know it.
Yeah, because it's like our field of fascination to talk about wellness and, all the things that are going to make people feel more balanced, and we're probably always giving suggestions. And so anyway, when I stumbled upon this world, it just, I was so excited to share what I was learning for myself as a student. And I just wanted everybody to have these, it felt like a little magical secret toolbox of navigating through life with more peace and ease and clarity and direction. And so that was it. I just kind of took off, ground running, head down, no clue what I was doing, and navigated myself to really just first and foremost build a beautiful community, and then grew that and was lucky enough to get published on Hay House, and then even luckier to have a radio show sandwiched in between Wayne Dyer and Esther Hicks for many years.
Wow.
You
Those
know,
are some good bookends for you.
can you imagine like the first day of
That's
school?
wild. Wild.
I was like throwing up in my mouth. I was so freaked out. Like, these are my like godmother and godfather
Yeah,
of
but
like,
it's amazing. They were just holding you up on both ends. I love that.
I know. And so
That's
to
wild.
have, Esther in my ear before my show and Wayne in my ear after, it was surreal. And that really took the Clarity Catalyst, the program that I had taken as a student and then gotten certified, that came from Stanford University, like, to the moon. And then there was no looking back from that moment, just bringing it worldwide. And then, they passed the torch to me as the lead trainer. And so under my direction, it's been translated into 10 different languages. It's in 10 different countries. We design
Unbelievable.
kids and teens and corporations. So it's been a wild, amazing ride.
It's incredible. And I know you've touched so many lives, including many of our students' lives that I know that have gone through Clarity Catalyst, and then your ongoing trainings as well. So
Yes.
I have seen, and I've been able to go through Clarity Catalyst myself with you. But I've been able to see you, and not just from afar, but really up close. I've been able to see you touch so many lives. So let's touch some more lives here today. I want to help some more people here today. So we are beginning 2024, and 2023 was definitely a shaky year for a lot of people. I think some things still probably feel very, very shaky for a lot of people. What do you do when you enter a new year? What do you do to set yourself up for personal growth, business success, happiness? I mean, we've talked about this before. I'm not a big fan of resolutions.
No,
I just
me
think
neither.
resolutions just set you up to fail.
Yep.
So, and I think that you should always be thinking, I think it could be December 31st and you could say, how could I do better today? What could I do better today? You don't have to wait until January 1, right? So,
Mhm.
even in terms of when I talk about eating empowered, I always say every single meal is a Monday morning. There's no waiting till Monday to start that, that healthy eating plan. It's sort of the same thing with all goals, which is why, again, I don't like resolutions. It really does set you up with that. I have to stick to this. And I really think it should be more about, being intentional and improving the way you do things, but you have to have that vision. So anyway, though, the question is for you. Enough about me and my not wanting to do resolutions, but I know we've had that convo, and I know you don't like resolutions either. So how do you help your students set themselves up with a clear vision and goals for a new year?
The first thing I actually do in the beginning of the year is instead of look forward, I look back.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a year review for myself, and I get really honest of what worked, what did not work, what I no longer am willing to tolerate. And I ask these hard questions, where did I fall short? Without any judgment.
Yeah.
Just from a space of like, let's learn from our successes and let's learn from our mistakes. And
that's so good. It's like
is
reflection. I love the time. I love that time. I do a lot of that in December, that reflecting, but I like the way you put it and how you say, like, really look back, the good, the bad, the ugly, without judgment.
Without judgment, and just asking those questions. What worked? What didn't work? Where did I fall short? What am I no longer willing to tolerate? And from that kind of reflection work, it's like, okay, great. Now, resolutions, no, but what is my big vision for this year? I love to declare a word every year.
Yeah, I love that too.
And
Yep.
make that be my beacon for decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So say my word is peace.
Mm-hmm.
Now something comes in and I'm like, okay, is this a yes or no? And the question just comes down to, is this going to bring me peace or chaos?
Mm-hmm.
and let that word, freedom, clarity, abundant, whatever it is, and use that for my big decision making throughout the year as well. I like to declare a word. I frame it, I put it up in my office so that I'm looking at it, so I'm connected to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like to get present again to the why that makes me cry.
Okay. So one, around the word itself becomes your North Star for the year.
Yes.
Okay. And then
Yes.
let's talk about what you just said, the why behind the cry.
Yeah. The why that makes me cry. And there's a lot of whys that make me cry. They've changed over the years, but I think I'm always sharing with my students to get present to why did you start this in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Like we get so caught up in the doingness and I've got to get my ROI and hit these numbers and book my clients. And we get detached from the original reason why we
Mm-hmm.
entered the profession in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get really connected with that, then the details just fall away. And there's a level of motivation and drive that comes from a space that's never in fear and scarcity. It's always connected to love, to my true passion. And that is the thing that really drives me the most.
The why that makes me cry. That's such a good way to think about that, really, to always come back to that, to come back to the
Mhm.
why. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting in this work? Why am I on this journey?
Yeah. Yep. Like this year, my why is about transformation through laughter.
I really like that. And that resonates with me too. So my word, I picked a word already. I already mentioned it in a few places here, but I'll share it now here with you.
Yeah.
My why is joy. Just want to I need to have more fun.
Right.
And we know when you're living in a place of joy and having fun and enjoying, because no matter how much crap there is going on, you can always find some joy. I do really believe when you can zone in on that, that is when you can find, even if there is other crap going on, that's
Yep.
when you can find solutions to that stuff. And that's when you can improve upon everything else. But you got to have that joy and that fun.
Yeah. And I want to tell you, when I did your conference, I got really clear about my why for the next year. And I was so lit up by being in your presence, the presence of your team, your community,
Oh, I love
your
that.
students. Like, it had been a while because we were all, on the Zoomity Zoom all the time. That I'd been running retreats, but mostly just teaching online. And it had been a while since I did a conference. And in the world of keynote and all of that stuff that I used to do all the time. And it just brought me back to such a passion of mine, is the old passion of acting, right? And being on a stage,
Right.
community, transformation. And I was in the midst of writing my one woman comedic stand up show. And when I was there, I was talking to a friend that came by to see me. And I said, you know what? I was going to do like one night only in like LA, New York, San Francisco, Colorado, and Chicago. Right. And then I was like, no, I want to do this for conferences, this comedic keynote.
I
So,
love it.
and it
By the
was
way, and you're
you.
so good at that.
Your conference is where the idea was born. And so I've been editing it and
I love
reformulating
it.
to be less just like a straight stand up and more for conferences, women's conferences, health conferences, whatever it is.
I love that. And just make people laugh. I love it.
And feel and cry a little and transform, all the things, like have it just be this incredible journey. And so I just wanted to thank you for that. And yesterday, I just mentioned it to somebody and I booked, I'm going to be flown, is the first time I spoke about it, to Korea in June for Entrepreneur Organization. And they want my comedic keynote
That is
keynote.
incredible. That is incredible. Congratulations. I absolutely love that. And I love that even if I played this little sliver of a sliver of, I mean, I'm just so happy that I was able to, be a tiny part of like that coming to, that manifesting itself. I love it. That's incredible.
And to tie this in, it's like the why that makes me cry is community. The friendships that I saw that were created at your conference, and the relationships and the love and the hugs and the tears. And like that to me is the why that makes me cry. And yes, I've built an amazing community online, but I love building community in person, and to build community with comedy. I mean, come on.
Amazing.
What better way to
No,
express
nothing.
joy?
And you just shined. And for those of you that don't know what Jennifer is talking about, the conference that she's talking about, it is my annual Nutritious Life Masterclass. And the Nutritious Life Masterclass is for students and alum in my program where people become Nutritious Life Master Certified Nutrition and Wellness Coaches. The program itself is called Become a Nutrition Coach. And again, you become Nutritious Life Master Certified as a nutrition and wellness coach. So anyway, that is the conference that Jennifer is referring to, where, by the way, Jennifer, you just were in all your glory and you were so incredible.
Because I was in my zone of genius, because I was doing what I loved, and I forgot how much I love that, Keri, until I came to that conference. And the other thing that I have to say about this conference was that it was physically life-changing. The people that you had there, if you noticed, I was probably the only speaker that stayed for the entire time. I was like, rude.
Yeah, I love it.
Single person in that those speakers were beyond. And what I learned about menopause and my window and my panels, I just got my blood work done. I've released 11 pounds since your conference.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible. I didn't know any of this. I love this.
I was just supposed to be a speaker. Meanwhile, I got so much value from that. Like, I need to be there every single year.
Oh my, well, you're coming. You're coming again. You know what? You're here 2024. You are there. We are booking you, girl, for your you've got your whole new one woman stand-up show. So we need you back.
I love it. But yeah, Keri, it was like, it brought the why that made me cry. It helped me create my vision. My word this year is magic.
Amazing.
Just for like, we always have like, well, this is going to happen, then this could happen. This could, like, what about the who knows what's going to happen? Like creating a space for magic to show up.
That's
that
so
it's
good.
not too detailed, right? Like giving space for the unknown and to dance inside that, and to trust it, and trust that magic appears when you're connected to the why that makes you cry. You're connected to your vision, and you're doing what you love, and you're surrounding yourself with a community that supports you. That's the formula for magic.
And what's interesting, I think the magic part of that as an entrepreneur, I think that's what allows a lot of people to be entrepreneurs. And I know we're both entrepreneurs, so I think we have that ability to see that magic. And I think for people, even if you're not an entrepreneur, it's a good reminder, like to have room in your life for that magic, because I think so many people don't like the unknown. They like to know every single thing they're doing. They like to be in control of every single thing they're doing. And I think one of the reasons for me, you're just reminding me of this, one of the reasons I've been able to be an entrepreneur is I actually love the unknown. I love the unknown, because to me, it means that there's endless possibilities. If you know every single thing that's going to happen in your job over the next year, and exactly, everything from exactly what you're going to make, to every single opportunity, to every single conference you're going to speak at, to every single thing. I mean, to me, then there isn't room for that unknown opportunity. So yes, it might be a little more planned out, and you might feel a little more secure, but like you said, there's no room for that magic. So there's a nice balance there.
Absolutely.
And I think, and I think some of us probably have too much unknown. I think entrepreneur for many years, I probably lived in the area of too much unknown, but I love that unknown. I love the unknown means possibility. And so the way you framed it as magic, I think that's a really positive way to look at it. And I think it's a good reminder for people that might not leave any room for magic
Mm,
to sort of open up their mind and create some space in their life for that magic to appear.
yeah. And the other thing that I want to say about like the kind of going back to the resolutions or the intentions or goals, or, somebody said to me recently, I actually had this woman come and she did a seminar during one of my retreats, and she
Hmm.
spoke into setting things up for increments of a year. We're
Hmm.
like, well, in 3 months, I'm going to accomplish this. And then in 6 months, it's like, what if we gave ourselves some space? And yes, there are goals that we need to hit and numbers that we need to hit and all those things. But especially when we're launching new businesses or we're starting into a new space for ourselves, giving us breath and time for something to evolve organically and not in this like driving and striving and pushing and rushed way.
Hmm.
I'll say to a lot of my clients, like, listen, give yourself space. Have When you're first starting this business, it's okay to have a part-time income coming in. So you're not strangling yourself with fear of trying to make your brand new business make the income that you need immediately. So what does it look like to look at life as in increments of a year?
Hmm.
And it's like, you don't, I'm creating a whole Oracle deck. And at first I was like, well, I'll have it done in 3 months. No, I'm going to have that done in a year.
I want to take a moment to tell you about our podcast sponsor, which I'm a super fan of. In today's fast-paced, go world, it's so easy to get overwhelmed and lose focus, especially when you're trying to accomplish critical tasks that require a sharp mind. If you're looking for a way to support your brain health and stay on top of your game, if you know me at all, you know I'm always looking to do that. Well, then you want to know about cognizant acetylcholine. This nutrient helps support brain function, and it plays a vital role in nourishing and protecting brain cells. Cognizant acetylcholine can help support focus, memory, and attention, promote cognitive performance, and support overall brain health. It's also known for its ability to support brain energy and is backed by numerous studies that show its effectiveness. Whether you're a student, a busy professional, a multitasking parent, or anyone looking to optimize mental clarity and sharpness, adding cognizant acetylcholine to your daily routine can help you achieve those goals and support your brain for the future. It can be found in many different products, including chewables, gummies, beverages, and even cold brew coffee. Visit cognizant.com for exactly where to find this ingredient, and don't forget to look for Cognizant on the label.
So what does it look like to look at life as in increments of a year?
Hmm.
And it's like, you don't, I'm creating a whole Oracle deck. And at first I was like, well, I'll have it done in 3 months. No, I'm going to have that done in a year. I want to do 3 conferences. That'll be done in a year. It's an
Yeah,
interesting perspective
it
that
is. It's a
I'm
little more like a breathing room as opposed to this has to get done now, which means I have to get
Mhm.
this much done tomorrow, which means then next week I have to have that much done. It's like
Yeah.
you still have to probably to do, like you said, your Oracle deck, you have to plan when you're going to get that done, but there's room for putting it aside for a couple weeks, going back to it, that you said, because you've given yourself that breathing room of, like you said, the year. I think it's an interesting perspective.
Yes.
So what do you, I want to ask you about, because I know a lot of people have tough times with mindset, and switching their mindset, whether they're in a negative place, whether they're always negative, that's just who they've been, or whether they're in a funk. I think sometimes people have a really tough time just switching up that mindset. Or
Yeah.
maybe they're down on their luck. They feel like, wow, nothing is going right with my job, or nothing's going right in relationships, and they just feel like it's one thing after the next after the next.
Yeah.
How do you, when you're working with someone, how do you help someone flip that mindset? Because I think there's so much power behind mindset,
Mhm.
and as you know, and maybe we can talk a little bit about this, there's so much real science behind it. This isn't just, woo woo, change your mindset, everything great will happen,
Yeah.
you'll manifest it all. I mean, there's actual real science behind that. So how do you help someone with that? Or what do you suggest for someone if they're kind of
Yeah.
in that place?
I mean, I do what I've always done is I'm always making sure I'm in what I like to call the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that conversation? That conversation is a Michael Singer book on my bedside that I read, a few lines before or when I wake up in the morning. It's a gratitude journal. It's me listening to Esther Hicks while I'm driving, or somebody that, really inspires and motivates me. It's calling the friends that have the positive mindset, that are in the conversation of transformation and moving themselves forward. So it's the podcast I'm listening to. It's the book on my bed. It's the conversations that I'm having. I'm always in the conversation of getting myself to that next level, because it's so easy to go into the drift,
Mm-hmm.
especially if we're in the work and then we are not, or we have friends and family that are not up to taking themselves to the next level and they're stuck. Then we'll, do what's called commiseration. Instead of us sharing what's new and good in our lives, somebody will be complaining, and we'll find the one area that we're not having luck in, and we'll share that, and we'll go down to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
So surrounding yourselves with people that have a very powerful mindset, are in a good place in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't mean you cut out your friends and family that aren't, but that you're good at healthy boundaries of having just enough time with them that it's good, but that you have support groups and you're reading the books and you've got the podcast and you've got all the things surrounding you, because it's very easy to slip and
Mm-hmm.
let that, suffering mind take over. So it's about staying in the conversation of personal development.
Yeah, I like how you're saying that, staying in the conversation, which essentially is doing the work, just
Doing the work.
continuing to do the work. You
And
reminded
that
me of
doesn't mean
something.
you
Yeah.
have to sign up for, every 5 seconds
Yeah.
another course on the work. It means you source it for yourself.
Right. You reminded me of something that I've always done. I have lots of self-help, self-growth books in my, all over my apartment.
Yeah.
But always a couple next to my bed. And I always have a couple there. And I usually don't read many books like that front to back. I
Yeah.
usually read a chapter here, then a chapter there. I usually don't, those types of books. I don't go from page one to the end. It's just how I read them. I kind of just flip them open. And anyway, it depends on which one it is. But anyway, I always keep a couple next to my bed. And if I'm just sort of feeling myself slip, like you mentioned, I will just open one up. I'll just open to any page. I'll just read a paragraph. And sometimes it just takes a paragraph to just sort of put me in motion on on a different path. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that all of a sudden I feel that everything's great in the world, but it means okay, all of a sudden I have enough of a mindset shift that I can go do one thing, and it can be a totally simple thing. It could be going for a walk or whatever, but at least it will set me sort of in motion in a better
Yes.
direction versus kind of going down into that negative
Yes.
spiral. So you reminded me of that. Like you said, you're listening to the podcast, you're doing all the things. Like that's one, I think, just very simple thing that I think anyone can do, because it takes literally 1 minute, less than a
Yeah.
minute.
And
And
it could be
anyone
when
can do
you're
it.
folding laundry or when you're
Yeah.
walking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I have the 10 things that bring me the most joy. What are those 10 things? And those have changed over the years, whether it's line dancing, pickleball, these are my latest and greatest, going to a
Well,
comedy show.
you in Nashville, are you doing a lot of the line dancing?
I am. If you could see me line dancing, like full 16,
I love
spiritual
it.
energy, I am plastered from the second I walk in till the second I walk out, drenched with sweat. It's the best workout of my life.
I'm coming to Nashville in March. I might have to do
So
some line
much
dancing with
fun.
you.
I
Okay.
do so much. And when I play pickleball, I'm just giddy like a little teenager. It's like what makes me just feel that joy. And I have a list and I make sure I do those things, that I put them in my schedule. If we don't create time for it, we're not going to do it.
But I think aside from putting it in your schedule, which is also amazing and important, I think what you just said, you have your list of 10 things. And I
Yeah.
think everybody can find 10 things,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everybody can find 10 things, because they can be tiny little things or they
Little
could
things.
be big things, but
Yeah.
we can all find those 10 things. So I think everyone here, I'm going to do this. I haven't done this before, written down 10 things like that. I think everyone listening should write down 10 things that bring them joy and make sure to incorporate one of them every day, right? But in some of them, at least then all of them can't be done every day, I'm sure, but incorporate them into your week and incorporate something every day into your life.
Yes.
That's so
100%.
good. So, so,
Mhm.
so good. These are so that like going to be so helpful for people. And I think sometimes people, again, don't realize the power of their mind and the power of changing their mindset. And I mean, we've talked about this too before, and I know you've studied this too, but just neuroplasticity, like the brain, like the way you talk to yourself and the way you think, and that like there's neural networks that are being created. But the coolest thing about the brain is the fact that it is neuroplastic. And these neural networks continue to grow and change and reorganize throughout your entire life.
Yep.
So when you challenge yourself, right, to new experiences or new perspectives or new mindsets, you can actually form new neural connections and you can change the way you operate. You can change the way you think. You can change your MO. You can change the way you do things.
Yeah.
So, but you do have to take those initial steps
Yeah.
to do that, which again is kind of back to what we were saying. It's back to doing the work.
Yeah.
And
And
this
self-awareness, just having a self-awareness, like, what is my itty bitty shitty committee saying?
I love that. I love
You
when
know?
you talk about your itty bitty shitty committee. Like what is, because I think about that all the time. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite quotes of yours.
Mechanisms.
What is the itty bitty shitty committee saying, Keri? What are
Yeah.
they saying? Every
Yeah.
once in a while I hear Jen's voice saying, Keri, what is that itty bitty shitty committee saying? And you better
Yeah.
smack it in the face.
Exactly. And sometimes we just identify that with who we are, that's just me. Like, actually, no, it's not you, because we all came out, I'm awesome, I'm talented, I'm fabulous, and then somebody said something to us and somebody made fun of us or told us we were not good enough, or society or teachers or parents or peers, well-meaning and not so well-meaning. And so we were not born like this, saying awful things to ourselves, so it's like, okay, stop, pause. What are the voices saying in my head? That doesn't make me schizophrenic. It makes me totally normal. What is the
Mhm.
idiot shitty committee, saying? And then like collapsing that. Like, is that true? Is that a story that was created when I was 5? Is that what society has told me? Like, what's my belief system? And just taking that moment to just decollapse those voices and get back to the truth of who we are is so empowering, and that's the work.
So true.
Mhm.
So true. So good. I mean, we're talking about this in January, starting the new year, but these are things that we have to remember. This isn't just a January thing. This
Yeah.
isn't just okay, I'm listening to this podcast. It's the first week of the new year, and I'm going to get into that mindset, and I'm going to listen to podcasts, and I'm going to buy the 3 self-help books and keep them next to my bed. And I'm going to write my list of 10 things that bring me joy that Jen told me to write, to write down. This is, you got to continue to do it. You have to be consistent with
Yeah.
this. And that doesn't mean you're not going to have crap days. You absolutely are. But just like when you're eating healthy, that doesn't mean you're never going to indulge. You're going to indulge, and you should do that, right? And having shitty days is part of life,
Yeah.
but it's coming back to these new behaviors that these new tools that will hopefully become behaviors.
And integrating them slowly over time. If this is like, day 1 of all of it, it's like, okay, now I'm going to integrate this one small thing. And then
Mhm.
next week, another small thing. And then building up the arsenal of having a practice. That's what it's about. It's creating a practice, a mindset practice, a joy practice, surrounding yourself with like-minded others practice. And it doesn't all happen overnight, an increment of a year. This could be your year of mindset that you work on it all year long.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that year of mindset. So it actually you reminded me of something else throughout our conversation today. I was thinking about this with mindset. Again, for those people that are sort of, naysayers to the mindset and like, yeah, that's all that
Yeah,
garbage.
yeah, yeah.
Because there are people out there that they're kind of so in that negative spiral that they're not really open to, let's say, the fact that they can rewire their brain, that
Yeah.
they're not really open to the mindset shift. So I always think of this example. There was this study. I think it was like, I don't know, it was like 10 years ago, but this is a good, I always think this is a good example because
Yeah.
many people understand like the placebo effect, and they know
Yeah.
that they take that, they understand that and how that works, yet they don't actually believe in sort of like a mindset and how that can shift the way, shift things that occur. Right. But they
Right.
believe in sort of they understand the placebo effect. So this to me is just another interesting study that I haven't looked at this in a while, but researchers, I believe, gave two groups of people. I think you're going to find this super interesting. They gave two different groups of people milkshakes. Half the people got milkshakes that they said were, I hope I get this right, that they said were super indulgent and lots, whatever, like I think like 600 or 1,000 calories or something, like super, super indulgent. And the others, they said, oh yeah, they're not, this is not. So this is only, X amount of calories. It's like a really healthy milkshake.
Yeah.
And anyway, the people in the group that thought it was super indulgent, their ghrelin, their hunger hormone, decreased because they're like, this is so indulgent. So they actually were like, felt like, wow, I'm fuller. I've already like indulged. I should be fuller. So their hunger hormone actually decreased. The people that thought it wasn't decadent, their hunger hormone didn't go down as much. And to me, that is just so fascinating that your mindset about what you think is in there. So forget about the physiological occurrence of how you're actually physiologically feeling and the satiety that you're feeling. The mindset actually affected the hunger hormones.
That's amazing.
I always think that's, I mean, of course, to me, I love, the nutrition
Studies
research and examples like this, but I think it's a good example for people that aren't sort of believers in the mindset and how mindset can so dramatically shift things.
Yes.
I mean, that is a psychological thing, right? That can actually have a physiological reaction, which is just, I think, really cool.
And the other thing that I'll say to people is like, notice what very successful people are doing. I love the book Tools of Titans. The Tim Ferriss that wrote the 4-Hour Work Week. He interviewed over 200, celebrities, billionaires, legendary athletes, and 80% of them had a daily practice of mindfulness, meditation, and positive mindset work. 80% of them. And it's like, there's something here, guys. It's like, look to who is succeeding in life. How, check the 5 people you spend the most time with. Rate them from a 1 to 10 of positive mindset. Look at their lives. It's like we really are the 5 people, and we're not talking about just our friends of choice. It's not always family, but who do we spend our time with? And I'm always interested in spending time with people, all sorts of people, but that also way ahead of me.
Right. Absolutely.
And to surround myself by them and to study what are they doing? What are their practices? And a lot of times it's this stuff right here that we're talking about.
Right. I mean, it works. Like you just said, I love that example though that you just gave, that like 80% of the people had some kind of a practice like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's wrap this up with, so what are the few things that everyone listening here is going to do today? Right. So create that word. What's your word for the year?
Yeah.
Write down your list of 10 things that bring you joy.
Yep. Reflection. Look back.
Do your reflection. Look back. And I like the way you said, when you look back, let's just remind everyone the questions you said to ask when you look back.
With no judgment are what worked, what didn't work, where did I fall short, and what am I no longer willing to tolerate in this next upcoming year?
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you so much for being here. And everyone, in the show notes, there will be an amazing offer for a program that Jen is doing very shortly. And then also just where to find all of her incredible information and just more on the amazing Jennifer Grace. So check the show notes for all of that. But do you want to share anything where people can find you? Oh, and then I have one last important question for you.
Tell me.
When it comes to living your most nutritious life, which I know you understand how all the pillars of a nutritious life connect, what is the one thing that you do to set your nutritious life in motion on a daily basis?
I think it's from the moment I wake up and just being in a full state of gratitude of being alive, in appreciation of all that I have, of the people that I have to love me, of the life that I get to lead, of the fact that I woke up that morning, and having that mindset of appreciation. And then that just sets me up for the entire day. I appreciate the food that I eat, the people that I get to talk to, the laughs that I have, just to be in a space of mindset of appreciation.
So good. I mean, and there's so much research on gratitude itself too, right?
Yeah.
So good. Thank you so much. Okay, so just if you want to share any last words about where people can find you or anything you want anyone to know, and that's all.
Yeah. JenniferGrace.com or on Instagram, TikTok at the Jennifer Grace.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you. Thank you. Bye. Happy New Year.